News, All-Pro pass rusher Chandler Jones has agreed to a contract with the Raiders. Should be some interesting conversations between Browns brass and quarterback Baker Mayfield. This after the team met with Texans QB Deshaun Watson, and Mayfield posted what appeared to be a goodbye to the city of Cleveland on social media. The Browns, Panthers, Falcons, Saints all trying to trade for Watson. If the Browns don't land him, they still need to move on from Mayfield, advises ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are smart, thoughtful guys. When they went down the road of saying, hey, we want to talk to Deshaun Watson, they were fully aware of what was going to happen. So to me, it's over in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield. It's not a matter of if, it's really a function of when.
Mike Tannenbaum on Greeny. Watson is facing 22 civil lawsuits alleging sexual assault and inappropriate conduct. Louisville will hire Knicks assistant Kenny Payne as its new men's basketball coach. Red Sox ace Chris Sale will miss the start of the regular season with a stress fracture in his rib cage. The team says it will be weeks, not days, before he can resume throwing.
Brought to you by Capital One Shopping. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Capital One Shopping. What's in your wallet? Savings and available coupons vary.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Hey, welcome in on a Wednesday. Another busy one around the NFL, of course. How about Yannick Ngakoue coming back to the AFC South and not to the Jacksonville Jaguars? Why can't Jan stay on a team? Very interesting. Has the defensive end pass rushing market really gone down over the last few years? A conversation we had around Yannick Ngakoue a couple years back, and maybe the latest signing indicates that could be the case around the NFL. Meanwhile, are your brackets ready? You better get them ready. ESPN690.com, $1 million perfect bracket. Go fill it out. It's easy to do. It's free. You can't win if you don't play. ESPN690.com. Brent Martineau out here on the west coast of Florida, southwest coast of Florida, looking at the Gulf of Mexico right now, guys. You don't have a picture of it, but I do. Action Sports Shack Studios filled with Austin Lane, Casey Kurtz. What's happening on a Wednesday?
Nothing too much. Just kind of keeping close tabs on, free agency, what's been going on. Nothing, crazy today, but still some entertainment stuff. Still some stuff we can talk about.
Absolutely, like Darious Williams. I love it because he's a local guy. Is that a good signing for the Jags? Is he going to be their nickel corner now with Shaq and Tyson Campbell on the outside? Is that what you envision?
I mean, it seems that Shaq obviously is an outside player. Tyson Campbell seems better playing on the outside. With Williams, I think that's going to be kind of the fail-safe to put him in the nickel slot. But you're going to see some kind of combination. I think it all depends what it looks like through OTAs, through training camp. But the way that it looks on paper right now, that's what I would predict, yes.
And now you look at what they've done, and they've made that usually a position of need, and I'm not so sure that is going into the draft. I think we still talked about a couple days ago, depth behind those guys is probably still needed in the later rounds. But now you've got three solid players at the cornerback position. You just added a linebacker. You added defensive tackle. We think they're going to add Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau in the draft. You have Josh Allen. Telling you what, man, the defense has gotten pretty good overnight, or at least a lot better than it was on paper, I think. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. Assuming you'd probably be in a lot of nickel unless you're playing the Tennessee Titans, this is going to be another starter coming to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, if you look at how this free agency has played out so far, you have a lot of players that are going to start. I think the only one that's up for debate right now could be Zay Jones, depending what happens on in the draft, but he'll have some impact on this team regardless. But everybody else, it's pretty much a guarantee. You're looking at full-fledged starters here that you've gotten in free agency so far.
What do you now look at this Mike Caldwell defense? First of all, he got probably some of the players that he wanted. He wanted to retool this thing. They spent a lot of money on the defensive side of the football here in free agency. What does it tell you about the defense? Any more that we didn't know already? I think there was some talk that maybe this defense, if you go back to like the Arizona days, used a 3-safety look, but they're not really pursuing safeties, at least in free agency. What do all the moves tell you Outside of that, what we've talked about, where we think this is headed toward a 3-4 base defense, does it tell you anything else about the style that Mike Caldwell wants to play on defense?
No, that's basically the most important part is the 3-4 defense, because if you're going to try to replicate what you had in Tampa Bay, which I think going after a linebacker that's supremely talented and very young could indicate. You're going to have defenses every single week. You're going to run 3-4. You're going to run a bear sometimes. You're going to run under eye. Like there's a lot of things depending on who you're playing that I feel like Caldwell could run. Now I think that the general consensus so far is it's going to be a base 3-4. But you know how NFL defenses are these days. There's always wrinkles. There's always different looks, and I think compare it to like a Joe Cullen defense last year where he kind of changed it up, towards the second part of the season with a lot more zone coverage. I think you're going to see a lot of just different kind of coverages, different kinds of blitzes, because that's kind of Caldwell, his MO, I believe, if he follows what he learned while he's with New York and while he was with Tampa Bay.
Well, and now you look at a couple of corners, by the way, that maybe they can interchange, right? I don't see Shaq Griffin going to play the nickel, but I do think Tyson Campbell has shown the ability, can do that. Maybe Darious Williams as well. So to your point, you show some versatility here in some of the matchups that you might be able to get. And again, this feels a little bit like the investment in the cornerback position, Austin. It kind of reminds me of what the Dolphins did a couple years back. Remember, we got Byron Jones, they got the kid out of Auburn in the draft, and they obviously paid Howard down there as well. So, it's quite an investment in the secondary.
Yeah, that's just the way the NFL is going. This is a pass-first league now, and you have to have the cornerbacks that are ready because the slot receiver is such a big, crucial part now of a lot of NFL teams. Guys like Cooper Kupp, guys like Tyreek Hill, guys like Hunter Renfrow. They're really kind of putting the slot as a very looked-at position, if you will. So when that's the case, and that's the way the game's going, if you're on defense, you have to adapt to that. So, yeah, you have to have that bona fide cornerback that can follow that one receiver. That hasn't changed. You have to have a good two cornerback. But now, maybe more importantly than ever, you have to have a good slot guy, a nickel guy as well, just because that's where NFL offenses are.
All right, let's talk about a different position on defense. Pass rushers. Chandler Jones was probably the hottest name out there. Just got scooped up by the Raiders, and then the Raiders in a move that seemed like happened at the same time sent former Jags player Yannick Ngakoue over to the Indianapolis Colts. He's back in the AFC South. We'll get to Jan in just a moment. But the Chandler Jones deal, 3 years, $51 million. So that works out to what, 17 a year? Mm-hmm. The market that's a high end of the market right now for pass rushers. This is something we talked about a couple years ago, Austin. The pass rush market kind of hit a peak, didn't it? And really hasn't gone above it. We're seeing every other salary really go past what it's been or what it is. Not the case, going all the way back to the Jan deal. And since then, that we're seeing these guys get paid, crazy, crazy money. Or is it just the age of Chandler Jones? Now, you do have your exceptions. The Joey Bosa's who are young and that they invest in. And those deals are pretty massive. Even you look at Max Crosby's deal, I think it was, 4 years? $98 million. So if you start just doing the average of that starts going toward the $25 million mark.
Yeah.
But are you surprised like a guy like Chandler Jones didn't get more? Or is it just because of his age and what he might have left that his market was only $17 million?
No, I think that's about right for Chandler Jones. Whether it's the injuries, whether it's his age. Yeah, I think for instance, I think once TJ Watt becomes a free agent, if he ever does, if the Pittsburgh Steelers, somehow let him go, then I think you have a guy that's going to reset the market again. But I think in terms of Chandler Jones, realistically, I can probably name 8 to 10 pass rushers that probably had a better year last year than Chandler Jones did.
Yeah, fair enough. And again, I think, what is he, 33?
Yeah.
I think he's 33 years old. So, listen, he's a guy, I guess he's the only one that I thought this would be kind of cool to see him in Jacksonville, but you also understand the age that he is at. Is he kind of more, hey, let's go win now mode? Are the Jags even interested in a guy of that age? I could see why they wouldn't be, especially now with the number 1 overall pick and the way this is shaping up to be a pass rusher. Mm-hmm. But I guess a one guy out there in all this, which has been a very fun free agency period for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and one that's hard to criticize. They filled a lot of holes. They spent a lot of money. They're trying to take some big swings, and I think fans appreciate that. I think everybody appreciates that. I would just say the one guy that floated out there, at least would interest me, would be Chandler Jones, but I just think it's another sign that the Jacksonville Jaguars, one, want to stay young, but two, they're picking a pass rusher with that number 1 overall pick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's been anything but obvious, I feel like, once they franchise tagged Cam Robinson. It's more likely going to be Hutchinson. I would be very shocked if they choose Thibodeau over him, just because it seems like right now Hutchinson's more of the sure thing and Thibodeau's more of the boom or bust type of player. Anytime, and I'm not saying this is the right thing, but it seems to be maybe a little bit of consensus with Thibodeau. When you question how much he loves the game and the effort that he puts out, it's one thing if you're picking in the middle rounds to second rounds where that guy's getting questioned. If you're the number 1 overall pick, I think that can be a turnoff to some teams, because obviously the number 1 overall pick means something. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Hutchinson from that. And, I understand that the price tag of pass rushers has gone down a little bit, but it doesn't mean that there's not a premium for them right now. Because if you look at what the AFC West has turned out to be now with the Raiders, letting Yannick Ngakoue go in favor of Chandler Jones, which I agree. I think Yannick Ngakoue, still a great player, but he's not Chandler Jones if Chandler Jones is healthy. So now you have the AFC West, who has, top to bottom, the best quarterbacks in any division. And now you talk about teams that are trying to, front load their defensive line, whether it's the Chargers bringing in Khalil Mack, whether it's, the Broncos going after Randy Gregory, whether it's the Raiders now getting a guy like Chandler Jones. I mean, these teams aren't just satisfied with one pass rusher. You get to have bookends on both sides to try to counteract these top playing quarterbacks like a Justin Herbert, like a Patrick Mahomes, even like a Derek Carr, and obviously now Russell Wilson being in Denver.
Yeah, you can see the chess pieces, right, especially in that division. I think you're absolutely right about that, some of the moves that have been made and then the counter moves that have been made. Let's talk about Yannick Ngakoue a little bit. Jacksonville, Minnesota. Where else did he end up? Where did he go, Baltimore?
Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore.
Yep.
The Raiders, the Colts. This is a third-round pick that really performed nicely in his first few years. I thought he might be a centerpiece of the whole thing in Jacksonville before it blew up. Why is he on 5 teams in, his first 5 years in the NFL?
I just think he's a victim of circumstance right now, unfortunately. I mean, not to say he did that bad in Las Vegas. I mean, heck, I believe he was a captain, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was a captain. I'm not sure. But I think he had a pretty nice year.
Yeah, I'm pretty
he
sure
might have been a captain, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was rocking the C. So that means something right there. I mean, that shows what the Raiders thought of him. That showed what his peers thought about him. So to me, that's telling right there. So I think it was him and Crosby were both captains last year. In another case, I mean, it's not the end-all, be-all, but I'm just saying it meant something that he was rocking that C in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, you have a team now that just, upped Max Crosby, which Max Crosby definitely deserved. And you have a team that's in a division, like I just said, that has some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And not to say Yannick Ngakoue wasn't producing, but Chandler Jones is an upgrade. And that's a fact. So I just think, unfortunately, he was a victim of circumstance. And now he goes to Indianapolis, where hopefully he can I say hopefully he can find a home there. That means he's playing the Jaguars twice a year, so hopefully he can lay off Trevor Lawrence a little bit. But now he's going to the Colts, where he should probably have a pretty good home there in terms of the guys that he's playing around and what they look like on defense.
Well, they're a good defense, right? I mean, they got DeForest Buckner, they got Darious Leonard, they have pieces at every level. And then you're playing now in Gus Bradley's scheme, where obviously Jan fits. So Gus is the new defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. So there's reason for Jan to like that. He did well here in Jacksonville in that scheme. It's really wild to me that here he is at 26 years old. He's been in the league since 2016. He's been very productive as a player, and 5 teams already. It's somebody just asked me, is he a bad locker room guy? Is that one of the reasons? I don't think that's the case. I don't think this is him wearing out his welcome. I don't think there's any evidence to that. I agree with you to a degree. I think it's circumstantial. I also think, if we're being really honest about it, I'm not sure he's ever taken the next step to solidify him as a piece you don't want to move. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's – I think, like I said, it's – I think 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 If you look at the numbers, yeah, I agree with that. Like he's been consistent for the most part, but like he's never had that season where it was like, well, dang, like this guy is going to be a perennial All-Pro. Like he hasn't had that season quite yet. Now, if you look at last year, I mean, the guy had 10 sacks, right?
Yeah,
if you had that in Jacksonville, you'd kill for that right now. Yeah. So it's not to say that he's not a great player, because I still think, and he's still young. Like we got to keep in mind he's only 20. He's only 26 years old. So there still is some room to grow there. But I just think, once again, being a product of circumstance where, yeah, you're a good player, but right now I think Chandler Jones is better. And I think the Raiders thought that as well, and they went after their guy. Like it doesn't matter how good you are in the NFL. If there's room and they can swing it to upgrade your position, they're going to do that. And that's what happened with Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah, and they're kind of feel like a little bit like, hey, let's go get this thing now mode, instead of keeping this long-term extension for a guy like Jan that you could have for the next 5 or 6 years. I'll tell you, the numbers are really good on Jan now. They're 55.5 sacks in 95 games during the course of his career so far. That's pretty darn good. His production has been excellent. He's got a couple picks in his career. He has forced some fumbles as well. I think he's got 3 of those. But he's a little bit light against the run. Everybody knows that. But in the defensive end position, you're graded on sacks usually and pressures, and Jan's really good at that. And it's just I think it's an odd thing to find a player that has produced to his level still have this many teams in such a short time. And this was a potential building block for the Jacksonville Jaguars that now ends up back in the AFC South and playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars 2 times a year. So that move just happened. Chandler Jones to the Raiders. Yannick Ngakoue. Rocky Sin, I think, is the guy that's on the move, right, in that trade. It's like a player-for-player trade.
Correct.
Yeah. So, listen, Indianapolis, you look at the AFC South right now, where the Jags, the way they're making all these moves, who else is getting better? I mean, the Jags gotten better the most in the last 3 days than any other team in the AFC South. Deshaun Watson's about to leave Houston. They've made a couple of moves. Indianapolis still doesn't have a quarterback right now, even though they're making a couple of moves. Definitely the Jags have increased their value in the AFC South, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've, it's not ironic that they spent the most money and they probably have gotten, the best so far in terms of free agency. I mean, it goes hand in hand, but absolutely. I mean, you talk about a team like we talked about has essentially got 6 or 7 brand new starters for a roster that won 3 games last year. I think it's not even close to in terms of who's won free agency so far. Now, those are just names, right? These names have to produce on the field. But the way that it looks on paper right now, yeah, in the AFC South, the Jaguars hands down.
Yeah, and the question is it good enough to compete, right? And we have no idea, but is it going to be good enough to compete in this division? Do you think the Jags did anything to counteract what the division looks like? Like, I don't see them. I mean, obviously defensive tackle, linebacker, those are moves against the run. You need them anyway. I mean, everybody wants to stop the run. So, I mean, I think you could look at Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. But I don't know if they, you just talked about the chess pieces of the AFC West. Mm-hmm. Like, they're stacking them up, and so, hey, go get a guy like Chandler Jones and offset that a little bit and protect against that and do some damage, hopefully, against some of those high-powered offenses. I don't see the Jags doing that, reacting basically to the rest of the division. I think they're just overall trying to play a little catch-up to bring them back to relevancy in the division.
No, trust me. I mean, if you're coming off of a couple seasons where you've won very few games, you don't have room to try to react to what's going on in the division. Your only job has to be to try to build a better roster. And that's currently what they're doing right now.
And they certainly are, and they look like they've built a better roster. 7 big-time moves now, a lot of money spent for the Jacksonville Jaguars. By the way, there's an informal discussion going on down at Jags headquarters today with Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson. Stuart Weber will be down there for us, for Action Sports Jack, so he'll check in on that coming up a little bit later. And then we do expect sometime this week to hear from some, if not all, of the free agents for the Jacksonville Jaguars that they have signed. It's a new team. It's a new look. It's going to be a little bit of a new locker room. And hopefully the Jaguars made a lot of the right moves by spending a lot of money, and they turn it into a lot more wins. than 4 over the last 2 years. Let's take a break. Our first one here on a Wednesday. A lot to get to still, including your bracket. What does it look like? Do you have some upsets? What's the Final Four? We'll do that. We won't go blow by blow by each bracket, but we'll definitely talk about how we think the NCAA tournament will unfold as it really begins on Thursday. You can catch the first 4 games again tonight on ESPN 690. Casey Kurtz, Brian Middleton, Action Sports Jacks OT in between. So from 6 to 6:30, they'll have you covered, and then right off to college basketball. Let's stay on the NFL. When we come back, there is a cautionary tale about spending this kind of money in free agency. I'll share you what it is when we come back on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies today. Some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms developing, especially this afternoon. High temperatures in the mid-70s. Drying out this evening, mostly clear overnight down to the low to mid-50s. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Garrett Biedenball.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Beard's Diamonds is locally owned, which means the owners are always on premise to give you the absolute lowest price.
It's that time of year we get to watch the best players in the world in our own backyard. Catch some of the Players' Championship fever with golf fever of your own. Save an extra $10 on the Dream 18 card this week at Action Sports Jacks, dream18.com. Play a lot of golf, just don't pay full price to play a lot of golf. Order the 2022 Dream 18 card this week for just $59. Golf courses have raised their rates, so you can save a lot while you play with the Dream 18 card at courses like Golf Club at Southampton, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, Osprey Cove, The Yards, Amelia River Golf Club, Eagle Landing, Fleming Island Golf Club, and Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club. Plus, you will receive a free smoothie from Smoothie King, a free hat from Dome Hats, a free shirt at Baker Sports, and a discount on a purchase at Palm Beach Autographs. This week, it's just $59 for the Dream 18 card. That's it. And some of the proceeds go to the Dream 18 charity as well. Buy the card at Action Sports Jacks, dream18.com. The right time for the best water is right now. CGC Water Treatment wants to make sure your family's water is clean, healthy, and tastes great. CGC Water's done that for my family for a handful of years now, and it all starts with a Connecticut system. American-made and installed by the pros at CGC Water Treatment. Contact CGC Water Treatment now for your free water test. Connecticut systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Connecticut makes the world's most efficient softeners, twin-tank, non-electric systems that use less salt and water during regeneration. Right now, save up to $600 on select system packages. Financing available with approved credit. Just call CGC Water at 904-552-1242 and ask about the Conway Club, the new service program that will save you money on salt, filters, delivery, parts, and labor. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local independent Connecticut dealer.
It's where I take my family to play golf, and you can take yours as well. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18, and it can be your golf destination. Enjoy your golf experience by calling 287-PLAY, 287-PLAY. Play some golf or maybe practice some golf at one of the newest facilities in the area. Grab some lunch or dinner, too. Southampton has it all. 287-PLAY for tee times and more. The Golf Club at Southampton, the home of the Dream 18, my home course. Make it your home course, too.
You know what's great about getting older? The toys are way cooler. Spring is here, and it's playtime. Yeah! And One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union, has slash loan rates across the board on all the toys. Motorcycles, jet skis, boats, RVs, ATVs, even golf carts. And it's fun and potentially dangerous. One-to-One Financial has the perfect loan to help you finance it. Check out our rock-bottom rates and apply now at one-to-onefcu.org. Come out and play. Federally insured by NCUA.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Ooma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And Doug.
Don't you just love the smell of old books?
This is a library.
Sorry, ma'am. We're looking for a book titled Liberty Mutual Customizes Your Car Insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I don't think we carry that, but check nonfiction.
He really does devour literature.
Please leave.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Thousands of people contact InventHelp monthly about their invention or new product. Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Call InventHelp now. Best of all, the call and information are free. InventHelp keeps your idea confidential, explaining every step of the invention process. Join people just like you who made the call to InventHelp.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380. Again, 1-800-217-4380.
The NFL is on. Key, Jay, and now Max Kellerman.
Here's a guy that you drafted in the first round that you think could potentially be the successor to Aaron Rodgers in the future, but could he at least be a damn backup?
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
If you look back at Indy last year, all they needed was a quarterback to play average football, and they were going to be in the playoffs. Carson Wentz was incapable of doing that those last 2 weeks of the regular season. Indy seems to be waiting on two things. What does Deshaun Watson do? Because what is the butterfly effect of that? Yep. And then Teron Armstead, the premier left tackle from the New Orleans Saints, is also waiting on Deshaun Watson. And I think that Indy wants to sign him with all the money that they have for their left tackle. I still think they need to upgrade their wide receiver and tight end position, but it's a very good situation for a quarterback.
That is Dan Orlovsky. He might not have the key to the city yet, guys. He's got the key to our show, though, because we get plenty of Dan Orlovsky stuff.
Yeah, that we do.
Hey, if anybody else was talking, it's pretty much just Dan.
Why is everybody so quiet these days?
I don't know.
They're not sending a lot of sound down, huh? They're all too busy getting ready for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's a lot of basketball sound, so I try to keep it at least the sport you want to talk about, but we're going to get to the point here where it's just Kendrick Perkins and Kendrick Perkins and Kendrick Perkins.
Dude's got a personality, man. I appreciate it.
He does have personality. Got a big one tonight. Your guy, Jason Tatum, against Steph Curry, right?
Who's my guy?
He's your guy.
Oh, he ain't my guy. I mean, hey, I'm a fan.
Four jerseys, I thought.
Oh, no. Jason Tatum's not my guy, but, it's one of those things where you got to respect greatness. So I do respect him. But, no, that would be a great game tonight for sure.
I've got a cautionary tale about spending the money I'll get to in a moment. A more burning question. And this is certainly an overreaction. But in 2016, the Jags' defense was trending in the right direction. 2017, they added some pieces, and big money pieces, as we all know, the Calais Campbells of the world, the A.J. Boyes of the world. And then they actually traded in that season for a guy like Marcel Darius. Could the Jaguars make that kind of jump where their defense goes from – and now keep in mind, the starting off point is different. So I'm not saying it will get to the 2017 point, but the starting off for this defense was not very good. Last year's defense, very inconsistent. Casey's going to get us some of the numbers, but like the 2016 defense, even though they weren't very good, wasn't that bad as I remember it. I think even in the rankings. And so what I'm wondering is with the pieces that they're adding and maybe even some more with the draft picks and some of the growth of some of those players coming in their second year, could the Jaguars make a big jump? And one area they could make a huge jump in is turnovers, and that's what happened in 17. They went from a 16 team, probably not getting many turnovers, not as bad as like last year's team for the Jags, but then they really turned the ball over. And so that can really change things, boom, just like that in a hurry. The Jags have been miserable at turnovers the last couple of years, but hopefully they added enough personnel where they can put some pressure on people that will create some of the turnovers. Casey, give us the rankings last year of the Jags defense, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so in terms of the league, you had points allowed. They were 28th. Yards allowed 20th. Passing yards allowed 17th. 7th in touchdowns passing. That's pretty good. Rushing, they were 23rd. Rushing touchdowns, they were 29th. And points allowed, or I did that already. Average drive points allowed, they were 28th, which is an interesting one. And they were 32nd in being on the football field. So they were on the field more than any other defense in the league.
Casey, do you have every team brought up there?
That's the offense, yeah.
I mean, does it, I'm not sure what you're looking at. Is it kind of ranked in terms of
I'm just on their
team
page.
Defense? Oh, okay.
I can find you some. What do you want to know?
Well, what I want to know is what is the correlation between, top 5 defenses and their offense? right? Like I think the Buffalo Bills had like the best defense last year in terms of team defense. Well, their offense is good. You know, I think San Fran was up there in team defense. Well, their offense is good. And to answer Brent's question, I mean, can they make a drastic push forward? Well, they're adding pieces on defense, so they are upgrading. But also, if this offense is even remotely close to being better than they were last year, I think that's going to be a big boost in terms of what this defense can do as well.
Well, and I think you bring up a great point there, Austin. That's part of it. We always just want to look at one part, and this is very like football inside the building. This is what they'll tell you, but they're not wrong. See, the other thing that happened in 2000, two things happened in 2017 that made the Jags 7 games better in the win-loss column, but tremendously better on the defensive side of the ball that had them pacing almost in historic proportions for a portion of that season. One was they added talent. Two is that talent and that group that was already there, those young players like Jan, like Miles, like what they do? They added Josh that year, right? Would that have been Josh's? No, he would have been 18. I said Miles, Jan, and Jalen, sorry. That was already there. And then the other additions, they turned the heck out of the football. I mean, they turned everybody over. I mean, they made huge plays on defense. I mean, they were scoring points on defense like every week. And then the third thing that happened is that offense, which people sleep on this, was a top 10 offense in the NFL. Mm-hmm. They were a number 6 ranked offense in the National Football League that year. And if you say that to people like Brent, I don't think you're right about that. Go look it up. No, they were. They were able to run the ball. I think they were the number 1 running offense in the NFL that year. And then they were number 6 overall. So you just nailed it, Austin. These additions on offense will also help. Growth of Trevor Lawrence can also help. Can they control the clock? That last stat said they were 32nd in the league in terms of time spent on the field. No defense can perform at a high level if that's the case.
No, of course. I mean, it didn't matter if the Jaguars had the Bills defense last year. Like, you can only do so much with what you're allowed. You know, I mean, eventually, if you're on the field for 20 more minutes than the other defenses, that's an issue. That's a problem. And, I seem to remember a lot of 3-and-outs last year, a lot of drop balls, a lot of dumb penalties that cost that Jaguars offense. And, I've been on pretty bad defenses and I've been on pretty decent defenses as well. And, the constant is like, I think, what was it, 2011 when we were, I think, number 6 in team defense with Mel Tucker. We had an offense that was okay. Now we weren't putting up points. You had Blaine Gabbert, but you still had Maurice Jones-Drew pounding the rock and controlling the clock. And that makes a big difference. When you go 3-and-out, 3-and-out, 3-and-out nonstop, that'll wear on a defense regardless of how talented you are. Like a defense can only handle so much. They can only bend so much regardless of the talent before they break. And a great way to help out your defense and to get them playing at a very high level is have sustained drives and control the clock.
Yeah, I agree with you. And so the whole piece, here's the thing. I asked this question in the context of 2017. I'm not trying to tell you that this is going to be a duplication of the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2017. It won't be as good a defense as that. I still don't think they have the kind of players that they had on that defense, and we don't know. I mean, that would be just such a blind take. What I'm saying is the combination of this football team, if they are getting better, if some of these moves are right, if some of these draft picks coming up, all those decisions that we talked about yesterday on the show, if some of those come to fruition, this defense can really take a step. I mean, you can go from 28th in the league to maybe a top 15 team in the league in terms of points given up. And that's a massive step to take. I'm not ready to say this could be a top 10 defense. I don't know that. But to be a top 15 defense with all the moves they made and hopefully just a better product on the other side of the football, I don't really think that is that far of a stretch. They were that bad at times last year.
No, absolutely not. I think and we'll see how this draft shakes out. Obviously, you're going to get a big piece, a big component at the top overall pick as well. I think if this team isn't, in the top 15, it's going to be an underachievement to say the least.
Interesting. All right, I've got a buyer beware on all the money spent. And money spent in free agency, it can be a dangerous thing. We know that. Everybody knows that. It can be sometimes a 50-50 proposition. Jaguars have hit on some free agent acquisitions over the years. They have really swung and missed on some, too. They've had some decent fortune, though, I will say, if you look at some of the production from the players that they have paid. In recent years especially, but over even the last decade with some of these miserable results, especially more so on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like they've come up pretty good. Offensive side hasn't worked as well for them. The New England Patriots spent a boatload of money last year. They gave themselves a chance to be competitive and win. It didn't lead to anything enormous, but it led to a playoff berth with a rookie quarterback, and gave themselves a chance. So the money spent by New England appeared to be a pretty good move on their part. But I remember saying and doing this, I don't think I did the study, I think I saw it somewhere else. What you got to be careful of, you can get a big bump in year one when you spend that money. The Jags did it in 2017. Patriots did it last year. There are a few other examples. What happens in year two, Austin, is a totally different story sometimes. And I'm really interested to see what happens with the New England Patriots, year two of Mac Jones, all the money they just spent. How will that take care of itself in year two? Will they follow a trend where the year two of after spending money goes down the hill? Or will they be able to survive and sustain it? And so, listen, right now, who cares about 2023 for the Jags? But the trend sometimes says when you spend money, you're going to get the bump in 22. But beware in 23 because it might not work out so well for you.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it all comes down to how great are these players that you're bringing over. I think with the New England Patriots, you get Matthew Judon. I mean, that guy for a while was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. So, I mean, I think that play, that consistency is going to stay with him. So they have one there. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry. Yeah, Jonnu Smith was out a little bit with an injury. I'm sure they probably wanted more from Jonnu Smith. Hunter Henry seemed to be the guy catching all the touchdowns. But at the end of the day, you're playing with a rookie quarterback. So one would think if those guys can stay healthy, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, well, that's only going to elevate Mac Jones now going to his second year. Nelson Aguilar, to me, is just kind of a name, right? I mean, no respect to the Patriots wide receivers, but that's not what you think of when you think of who the Patriots have. So like Jacoby Myers, Nelson Aguilar, I mean, we'll see from those guys. But if you talk about the top three guys from free agency that they were able to get, I mean, I think they're all going to be contributing factors going forward. So if that's the case, then I don't think they're going to have, I mean, yeah, maybe you can't sign a guy here, sign a guy in there, but they got the guys that are going to elevate the quarterback, number one, and make them a pretty legitimate defense, number two, which is two very important things. I think with the Jaguars right now, there's a little more of a question mark. Can Christian Kirk be the top receiver? Can he be that one? Can he be the dependable guy when the game's on the line? We hope so, but we haven't really seen an 1,000-yard season from Christian Kirk yet. So there's a question mark there. I think from Evan Ingram, there's probably a little question mark there as well, right? Because have we really seen the best of Evan Ingram, or is there untapped potential there? He just hasn't really got his shot in New York. So there's a question mark there as well. I think the biggest difference from the Jaguars and their guys compared to the Patriots guys is I think the Patriots had a better idea of exactly what they're going to do and exactly what they're capable of. I think in Jacksonville, it's a little more of, it looks great on paper, but now can they bring it on the field?
Yeah, and I would say, I think one of these things that you could say the Jags tried to do here is they didn't try to go get the Chandler Jones guy or even 17, the Calais Campbell guy, where you didn't know how they would perform down the road a couple of years. These guys, with this kind of investment, they are investing in 25, 26-year-old players that they think that could maybe even play the length of the contract. When you do free agent deals, a lot of them is like, okay, let's get 2 good years at the very least. We can get out from underneath that deal if it doesn't work out. But I think the Jags did this with a little bit of a vision of, okay, if we make a mistake, we can get out after 2 years. Let's hope they give us at least 1 good year. But we think they might be able to be a part of this thing for the next 4 or 5 years, Austin.
No, absolutely. And I mean, youth is one thing for sure. Now, if it's youth and talent, well, then you got something special. So, just kind of repeating myself, I mean, if Christian Kirk can come in and be a difference maker, well, then, forget about the money. If he's truly that guy, then it doesn't matter what you paid for him. He's on your team now. I think Aluakon is another guy who is on the younger side, put up a lot of tackles last year in the NFL. I mean, if he can parlay that now to more consistent play, like game in, game out, well, then, you got something there. So, I don't want to say it's like boom or bust potential, but there is a risk with all the guys that you're bringing in because, they are young and they haven't played their best football yet. The question is, can Doug Peterson's staff bring the best football out of them?
Yeah, and it's almost like, it feels like an extension of the draft the way the Jags are using this, right? They might not have enough of their homegrown second contract guys, but they just bought a couple of guys that earn second contracts. That's the way free agency sometimes works. But again, I think sometimes it works that way. Other times you do get the Chandler Jones or going back to the Calais Campbells of the world. And those guys are on like third contracts. So the Jags didn't opt to do that this go-around with all their selections. Instead, they're working in that 25 to 27-year range in terms of age. I thought the Jags might be, that Darious Williams deal was a little bigger than I thought the Jags would still be shopping for right now, Austin.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're done. I think they're done.
Yeah.
How about you?
I mean, we talked about it yesterday in the last hour. I mean, if you could add like an edge rusher just in terms of depth, I definitely wouldn't be mad at that. I think you can always look at edge rushers for depth. I think in terms of running back, that could be a viable option. Obviously, you can get a running back in the draft as well. But, running backs usually, especially kind of the under-the-radar ones, come at a pretty low discount if they're veterans. And I think Peterson could take a look at them as well, just because you have two guys right now in James Robinson and Travis Etienne who are coming off some pretty major injuries.
Yeah, I guess I should clarify a little bit. I don't know if they're done in terms of picking up even some core special teams guys or depth players. But in terms of these big deals, I mean, again, Darious Williams wasn't the biggest of all deals, but it's a pretty big deal. So Jags are very invested now in that cornerback position. I don't see any more of those. But guys like Allen Robinson are still out there. There are some receivers still out. I think Juju Smith-Schuster's still out there. I don't think the Jags are going to make any plays for any more receivers or really anyone else in terms of a big deal. Are you surprised? One thought on that. Are you surprised guys like Juju Smith-Schuster and even especially in Allen Robinson, who might have been arguably the best receiver in the free agent market available? Are you surprised that he hasn't found a home yet?
No, not at all, because if the Jaguars have kind of reset the market a little bit, I'm sure that's probably some of the talks right now is how much money is Allen Robinson trying to get? How much money is Smith-Schuster trying to get? Because, I mean, arguably, Casey, let me ask you this question, Casey, because you play fantasy and you're in depth with it. Who would you rather take, Smith-Schuster or Christian Kirk?
I would have to go Christian Kirk.
Okay.
Because he seemed to get the ball more than Smith-Schuster, and Smith-Schuster was like the third option. So was Christian Kirk, but in that offense, he at least got the yards.
Brent, who are you taking, Smith-Schuster or Christian Kirk?
I think coming off the last couple of years, I think I would take the upside of Kirk.
Okay. Yeah, and I'd probably lean toward. Go ahead.
Now, I don't think I'm not sure there's another receiver out there that has lost more stock in the last few years than Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, I mean, he only played 5 games last year, so that didn't help him by any means. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, there was a while he's doing all the Pizza Hut commercials and everything like that. But what is wild is you look at 2020, his campaign, I mean, statistically, yeah, he didn't get over 1,000 yards, but he had 9 touchdowns. So statistically, that was his best season in terms of scoring. He had 831 yards, 97 receptions, which is nothing to really scoff at. So I am a little surprised that he hasn't found a home quite yet. But once again, I think it just comes down to dollars right now with the Christian Kirk deal.
Yeah, and just to add to what you just said, he was good statistically. What was crazy, Austin, you go back to this time last year, we thought the Jags might be in play for a big deal with Juju Smith-Schuster. There was no market for him. And so that's why he went back to Pittsburgh, basically. I think it was just a one-year deal.
Didn't he have an offer,
we were surprised by that, remember?
Didn't he have an offer where he took less money, though, to go back to Pittsburgh? I thought somebody offered him or something. Or there was rumblings.
But it wasn't a big even if he did have one, it wasn't like we thought he might be one of the coveted guys. If we go all the way back to what would that be, the 2020 season, as he's piling up 9 touchdowns, right? So you go back maybe like it's early December, and if you start looking ahead, you're like, hey, Juju Smith-Schuster's going to be available. Maybe this new regime will take a look at him, blah, 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 blah. And then it became like, he's kind of got to go back to Pittsburgh and play another year and kind of show me deal. Again, it feels like he's lost a lot of stock. I thought the market would play better for Juju Smith-Schuster over these last couple of years, and quite frankly, it doesn't seem like it has, at least not yet.
Not yet, but once again, I think it would have been expedited a lot quicker if Christian Kirk didn't get what he got. Because if I'm Smith-Schuster's agents right now, I'm saying my client is 1 year older in terms of NFL experience. has had over 1,000-yard season, has far more touchdowns than Christian Kirk, has had far more receptions than Christian Kirk. So if Christian Kirk gets that kind of money, why isn't Mike Klein getting that kind of money? I mean, I think those are the conversations that are taking place right now because they should. It's your job as an agent to try to get your client as much money as possible. And if you see what Christian Kirk got, and you look at Smith-Schuster's numbers year in and year out, set aside from last year where he was hurt pretty much the entire season, they aren't the worst numbers out there.
Yeah, I agree. And I just – listen, it could be very good for Juju Smith-Schuster and especially Allen Robinson, the price tag for Kirk. But it's a slow market right now while people try to figure that out at least. Hey, by the way, the league year really hasn't even started. So while it feels like, why is Allen Robinson still out there, the league year starts in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not like it's next Wednesday.
No,
We're
for sure.
talking about why hasn't Allen Robinson been signed. So probably a little bit of hyperbole on my part. We'll be back. Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690 here on a Wednesday as we continue to talk about a wild week in the NFL.
For the second season in a row, ESPN 690 is proud to be the official station of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Starting in April, hear all Jumbo Shrimp games on ESPN 690, ESPN690.com, and our Facebook page, ESPN 690 Jacks. No matter what happens with Major League Baseball, the Jumbo Shrimp season will start on April 5th. So if you can't make it out to the ballpark, we will have every game all season long right here on ESPN 690.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good. Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless. Now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle squeals or grinds when you slow down or just isn't stopping like it used to, you may need new brake rotors and pads. Now through May 24th at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get 15% off a set of Brake Best Select or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Restore safe braking and save money now at O'Reilly Auto Parts or order online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Moving Day, a walk for Parkinson's, is happening around the country this spring. More than just a walk, Moving Day is a fun experience that unites the community in the fight against Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's doesn't stop, and neither will we. So let's get moving. Join the Parkinson's Foundation to learn more and register for an event in your area at movingdaywalk.org. That's movingdaywalk.org.
Quitting nicotine isn't easy, which is why Tobacco-Free Florida offers free tools and services like free 2-week starter kits of Quit Aids. We're also trying out music to help motivate smokers to quit.
Not another cigarette would be late. Now there's someone living tobacco-free. It's you.
Wow. Okay. Maybe we'll just stick to the ways we know work. Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com or call 1-877-YOU-CAN-NOW for free nicotine patches.
Join the movement to end colon cancer. The annual March to Get Screened 5K is coming up on March 27th. All proceeds benefit the nonprofit Borland Groover Foundation to advance colon cancer research, provide free screenings, and financial assistance. Colon cancer is actually preventable with regular colon screenings. Hundreds of lives have been saved due to the support of our community and the March to Get Screened 5K. Bring the family and join us in downtown Jacksonville on March 27th. To register, donate, or for more information, go to marchtogetscreened.com.
Sometimes the injury happens in a second, but sometimes it's as a result of the same motion over and over for many years. Let our team of lawyers take a look at your workers' compensation case.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's that time of year we get to watch the best players in the world in our own backyard. Catch some of the Players' Championship fever with golf fever of your own. Save an extra $10 on the Dream 18 card this week at Action Sports Jacks, dream18.com. Play a lot of golf. Just don't pay full price to play a lot of golf. Order the 2022 Dream 18 card this week for just $59. Golf courses have raised their rates, so you can save a lot while you play with the Dream 18 card at courses like Golf Club at Southampton, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, Osprey Cove, The Yards, Amelia River Golf Club, Eagle Landing, Fleming Island Golf Club, and Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club. Plus, you will receive a free smoothie from Smoothie King, a free hat from Dome Hats, a free shirt at Baker Sports, and a discount on a purchase at Palm Beach Autographs. This week, it's just $59 for the Dream 18 card. That's it. And some of the proceeds go to the Dream 18 charity as well. Buy the card at Action Sports Jack's Dream18.com.
Spring deals can't be stopped with 2.9% APR on the all-new 3-row 2022 MDX SUV. Get top dollar for your trade and upgrade to the all-new MDX. FirstCoastAcuraDealers.com. Excludes Type S edition.
That's the sound of a crack in the ceiling found at a home inspection. But with a Realtor by your side, a newfound leak might only cause minor worries. With their expertise, a Realtor can suggest a credit at closing and even connect you to a contractor to help you shore up that leak and alleviate your worries. When it comes to cracks in your plans, the expertise of a Realtor can make all the difference. The difference between an agent and a Realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Transmission problems? Call Action Transmission Specialists on Merrill Road, where you get the work done right the first time by the experts. I'm Robin Sidbury, the owner. Our techs can service all makes and models, and we provide a nationwide warranty, so you have the peace of mind knowing we solve your transmission troubles fairly and honestly and guaranteed nationwide. Call us at Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road, where quality counts. Get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Smart speakers are becoming part of everyday life, so why not use it to listen to the radio? Tell Alexa, Google Home, or any other speaker to play ESPN 690. Give it a shot weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
We've been through his path before, and he's a hard worker. It's just, like I said before, it's an obstacle, right, for everybody here. We're not happy, and he's not happy. But at the same time, injuries happen, and I think as an organization, we did a good job. Right before December, we got some capable guys that can fill the void, and when he's back, he'll be back. You know, at least it wasn't his arm, right? And the way he threw the ball the last game against the Astros at home, you know, it's like we have flashbacks of who he is. So there's no doubt in my mind that when he comes back, he's going to be sound, he's going to be good, and he's going to contribute.
That is Red Sox manager.
Yep.
Alex Cora, not Joey. I almost went with Joey. And Chris Sale hurt again. I mean, come on. You know, I will say this. I like Sale. Sale's a really hard guy to hit, and he's done a lot of good things in Boston. It was a good signing initially. Casey, you'll remember this. You know when they gave him like $100 million, that deal, I think it was?
Yep.
That was a bad move. That was a bad move. Like that just has not worked out. I mean, he's been hurt, and I don't like when you're waiting on guys too. You know, you're always waiting. All right, is this guy going to be who we think he is? Well, I think that's now a constant question with Chris Sale. So it's a rib injury, and who knows when he'll be back. He'll miss some of the start of the season. What's going on in Milwaukee with baseball season? As I might try to steal a spring training game here this weekend down this way in Southwest Florida. The Brewers doing anything? I feel like they've been quiet.
Yeah, I don't think they've made any big splashes quite yet. They definitely need some bats. You know, I mean, in terms of pitching, still probably one of the best rotations in the league. But as far as their bats are concerned, yeah, I'm a little nervous for that. So hopefully they can add somebody to the lineup.
Casey, are you surprised with some of the moves? By the way, the one bit of news in the MLB today, well, it's not the only bit of news, but one with significance around here, is a goodbye post from Freddie Freeman after 15 years with the Atlanta Braves. And some, by the way, say that Freddie will get his number retired in Atlanta. You think that's the case?
Yeah, I think he probably will when it's all said and done. He did a lot for them. He was their leader for a long time. He took over for Chipper Jones being the leader of that team, but it's going to be a weird thing for Braves fans to accept, but Matt Olson is better. And they paid him a lot of money, which people are going to say they should have paid Freddie Freeman with. Matt Olson's better, and he's younger. And that's going to hurt for Braves fans to figure that out, but they will figure that out at some point. But, Freddie Freeman will go somewhere. At this point, I have no idea where. It looks like the Red Sox are back in play, but the big names haven't fallen yet with Correa and Bryant, which is surprising, so I guess we'll see what happens.
I didn't even see this. The Brewers signed Andrew McCutchen yesterday?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even. It goes to show you where.
That used to be a big deal. As McCutchen seems like he's now almost like this journeyman guy.
Yeah.
Am I selling him too short?
Yeah, I mean, he's not once he used to be the dude. Coming from Philadelphia, batting 222, 27 homers. I mean, he's definitely gonna be part of the rotation. Part of their lineup. I'm not mad about it.
He doesn't hit for average anymore. He's strictly a power hitter. But you're right. He was that dude, and he's seen a lot of baseball, so he's going to make them better. Yeah. But yeah, he's good for a bop or two every now and again.
Yeah. By the way, great dude too. I mean, easy guy to root for. So that's a good guy in their locker room and all that stuff. So really, the Correa, the slow pace of Correa is kind of what we're all waiting on, right? I mean, he's the top guy out there, and there's really no movement yet. This does remind me of a couple of years ago. Remember when the camp had started and a lot of guys weren't even signed yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we're waiting on Correa because then we're waiting on Trevor Story, who you forget about, and we're waiting on Chris Bryant. But, yeah, Correa's got to go first. Sounds like the Astros might be back in play. Because, Freddie Freeman's kind of a one-off in the situation where, the Yankees went back to Anthony Rizzo last night. So the first base market's a little different. Bryant plays all over the field. So you're kind of waiting on Correa to see where Story goes, and it'll fit Bryant. But I think it'll happen quick once it happens. But, what are we doing? Let's go. Get it done.
If you could take, let's grab these two guys, right? Freddie Freeman, Chris Bryant, two big names. But you wonder where they are in terms of being like a star and a stud, the age of Freeman now. And Bryant's been a little hit or miss at times. Who makes your team better? If you got a contender, who's okay, we had this guy, and now we really feel good?
I would personally say Chris Bryant because, Freddie Freeman, you do know what you're getting, but he's your first baseman. Chris Bryant's your third baseman, center fielder, left fielder, right fielder, second baseman, first baseman. You can literally play Chris Bryant anywhere, and that's going to matter when we're back to playing 162 games and people are going to get hurt. You can move Chris Bryant around. Does he love it? Not really. He likes to play in a position. He said that, but he can do these things if you need him to. So I think that added value is more than Freddie Freeman. So, yeah, he's a great first baseman. He's going to hit. He's a great leader. But I think having the ability to move Bryant around will help a team immensely.
Well, and the big thing with Freddie Freeman, he was a great leader. He was on a team that kept him for how long? For 12 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he goes to a new team. I mean, there's still going to be leadership there. But, what made Freddie Freeman such a legend was the fact that he spent so much time in Atlanta. I think from a skill perspective, you have to go Bryant all day.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. You wonder if all that will translate. There was an it factor with Freddie Freeman, and that's why maybe someday they'll retire his jersey. All right, we got to take a break. 4 o'clock hour coming up. Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. Back to a lot of football. Deshaun Watson, is he going to end up in Cleveland? And what's the story with the Baker Mayfield post? Was that too soon, or is it a done deal?
It's way too soon.
We talk all about the NFL. We'll talk all about it. Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690.
Bono's Pit Barbecue. Yeah, it's good. It's more than food. It's about the flavor, the tradition. It's barbecue, and it's who we are at Bono's. Locally smoked since 1949. Almost 20 locations around Jacksonville. On the menu, smokehouse stackers, sandwiches, salads, sides, and Bono's family feast. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. Authentic traditional Southern barbecue. Feel the flavor, feel the community. Bono's Pit Barbecue. Yeah, it's good.
Hey, I'm I'm Carrie.
And I'm Bruce. We're the owners of Koala Insulation. Don't let the milder temperatures lull you into complacency. Fuel prices will continue to rise, as will your utility bills. Call us today and take advantage of our fall prices. We don't quote over the phone or just poke our heads up in your attic. We do a full evaluation to include attic ventilation needs as well as insulation.
Give us a call at 904-679-6282 or online at koalainsulation.com.
All offers are with approved credit and not in conjunction. See dealer for complete details. Ram Truck Month.
Get outdoors and have a great time in a brand new Ram truck from Jacksonville. Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Bay Meadows. Choose from the best selection and get your price and payment in 10 minutes or less. If we don't have exactly what you need in a truck, we'll order it at a price you'll love. Bring us your trade and get the most for it. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. I-295 and Bay Meadows.
Hi, I'm Pauline Savigny, owner of Grace Aerospace and a hyper-connected mentoring graduate of the Jacksonville Women's Business Center. Being a member of Jack's Chamber and involved with JWBC has provided me with many great new relationships. Success doesn't come without strong support, and the people of JWBC have provided exactly that. JWBC furthers my confidence in that deliverance by providing a strong group of women business leaders to connect with, learn from, and lean on. For more information, visit jackschamberfoundation.org.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Thursday on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. It's our back-breaking, neck-aching play of the week, presented by 904 Chiropractic and Injury Center. A fun news segment on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, 3 p.m. until 6 p.m.
You know what's great about getting older? The toys are way cooler. Spring is here, and it's playtime. Yeah! And One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union, has slash loan rates across the board on all the toys. Motorcycles, jet skis, boats, RVs, ATVs, even golf carts. And it's fun and potentially dangerous. One-to-One Financial has the perfect loan to help you finance it. Check out our rock-bottom rates and apply now at one-to-one-fcu.org. Come out and play. Federally insured by NCUA.
We all know the soothing scent of Vicks Vapo Rub, the comforting scent families everywhere have come to trust. Whether you had a pesky cough and couldn't go to sleep, or you just needed a loving touch of care to help you feel better, Vicks Vapo Rub has always been there. It always made you feel better, and today, it still does. Reach for Vicks Vapo Rub and wrap yourself with the calm and soothing relief only Vicks Vapo Rub can bring. Vicks Vapo Rub, trusted soothing vapors, always there for you.
O'Reilly Auto Parts has what you need to keep your engine performing at its best. Our professional parts people will help you select the right products for your vehicle and your budget. Like 5 quarts of Castrol GTX conventional oil and a MicroGuard filter, just $28.99. Save money on your next oil change. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect opportunity for a significant business upgrade. Save up to 45% on Dell computers with Windows 11 Pro and get an easy start to your workday. Plus, enjoy special pricing on Dell docks, monitors, servers, and more, all with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor today to find the right tech for your business with fast, free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Hi, it's Rick. I'm at the Smith home. Where's Donnie?
Leaves and autumn bookings pile up for Rick's gutter cleaning service.
He's out? Come on.
He needs help before his bottom line gets clogged.
Okay, well, what about Cristiano? We still got 6 houses today.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns are both waiting to see whether the Browns can convince Deshaun Watson to come to Cleveland. I think most people believe that Deshaun is going to want to stay down south, Carolina, Atlanta, where he's from, maybe New Orleans, one of those three places. But Cleveland has put forth an impressive pitch. Now, if the Browns can convince him unexpectedly to come to Cleveland, well, then Baker Mayfield would become tradable.
That is Adam Schefter talking about Baker Mayfield, Cleveland Browns, how it ties in with Deshaun Watson. We will get to that part of the story in just a moment. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Casey Kurtz, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. I'm coming from Southwest Florida, kind of in the Inglewood, Venice area, looking at the Gulf of Mexico. Those guys, Austin and Casey, back in the Action Sports Jacks studio. Sorry you couldn't join me down here. Are you back to working out, by the way, Casey? Austin, not you, Casey. Austin,
Casey, were you working out too?
Are you getting in fight mode?
Oh yeah, I mean I've been in fight mode. For sure.
Well, I know, but you took a little bit of a...
I took a week off and just did like some light stuff. But yeah, now I'm kind of back full go, sparring. Got some sparring in last night, which was good. So.
All right. And we got nothing moving yet on April?
Nothing moving on April, no.
All right. Keep us up to date.
Will do.
I'm not working out either, just so you know. I had a pub sub last night.
Yeah.
Everything's going well for me. So
pub sub is a shameless promotion.
What would you go with?
Oh, well, since we're promoting them, Stuart Weber made a tweet that said the chicken tender was on sale.
Oh, nice.
And I said, oh, say less. So I said to Amanda, I'm like, hey, chicken tender's on sale. What are we doing? We got the chicken tender subs.
No, sad. Coleslaw on there, too?
What?
Did you put coleslaw on there?
No.
Oh, wow. Never mind.
What? Wait, what?
Never mind. Yeah, man, because, like, you know, the Jaguar sub that comes with coleslaw? Yeah, I put coleslaw on there.
Really? Is that a thing?
No.
Yes.
Absolutely
not.
What is it? Which one was on sale again?
Chicken tender. Just the casual chicken tenders, and he's telling me to put coleslaw on it, which sounds like the worst thing that's been invented.
Have you tried it before?
Of course not. Coleslaw's horrible.
Then that's... Oh, you don't like coleslaw?
No.
Really?
It's disgusting.
Really? All right.
What's the appeal of eating coleslaw, please?
It's delicious.
No, it's not.
Good crunch to it, good consistency, a good flavor profile. What's bad about coleslaw, Casey?
Everything you just mentioned.
You're unbelievable. Grow up and just eat your chicken tenders then with nothing else.
I will. Buffalo sauce. Thank you.
Come on.
What do you mean?
No, go barbecue or don't go buffalo sauce. That ruins the sandwich. That ruins the flavor profile. You know how strong buffalo sauce is? Gross.
What are we doing?
Gross.
What a disaster.
Yeah. What is? I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Casey. I'm not sure on the pub sub chicken tender one. I'm going with coleslaw, but I think that might be a Wisconsin thing where you probably have like that coleslaw kind of feel like you don't put that on brats, but you put the other stuff on the brats.
You guys do realize the Jaguar sub does come with coleslaw, right?
Listen, man. That's nothing.
How are you going to say I'm Wisconsin when literally the city that hosts the Jacksonville Jaguars is putting coleslaw on a pub sub?
I don't know, man. Have you seen the team?
That's not my problem.
Like the sub represents the team, and neither are good right now.
What else is on the Jag sub?
That's a good question.
What is it? Bacon, cheese, slaw?
Oh, good. No.
What do you mean no?
Like it's good.
I was thinking of sauerkraut, by the way, for you Wisconsin guy. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Well, no, this is Jaguars. We're not doing sauerkraut here. Casey, what do you mean no?
I mean, like...
What's wrong with bacon? No, you hit on bacon now.
No, I was saying no to coleslaw. Sorry, I was like cheese, bacon, yes, all four. With the chicken, all good. Then you bring some weird fruit salad, like the Wiggles yummy type situation.
Well, look at it like this, Casey. On a sub sandwich, on a whatever you want to call it, a hero or a hoagie, whatever you want to call it. Traditionally, you can find some lettuce, correct?
I do like lettuce.
Traditionally, you can find maybe some mayo, right? Well,
traditionally, sure.
Okay, and traditionally, you can find some greens. So, like, we'll say peppers or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm saying traditionally. So, traditionally, what is wrong with coleslaw when I just hit three of the things that are a major part of coleslaw?
Because it's gross.
Okay, well, there you go, man. I don't know what else to tell you, dude.
I don't know what else to tell you. It's bad.
By the way, if we're talking NFL subs, the best one, and the Jag sub is good. And by the way, grow up, you too. Like, if you don't know that the coleslaw comes on a Jaguar sub, I don't know what to tell you. We talk about the Jags how many times a day on this show, and you guys had no idea that the Jag sub comes with coleslaw. So I'm a little embarrassed right now. That's the sound of our dollars just going downhill because no one's going to be taking us seriously anymore. But the Falcon sub in Atlanta is really good as well because they put stuffing, turkey, and cranberry sauce in their
I like that one.
In Atlanta.
I like that.
Goes hard.
Thanksgiving
Atlanta goes
sandwich.
hard. Atlanta goes hard now.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Can't lie about it.
Yeah.
So, all right, there you go, Publix. You're welcome.
You guys should be embarrassed, by the way, because I'm embarrassed for you.
You should see the
I'm
YouTube. It's just a bunch of coleslaw. It's horrible. Like, it's just there's so
I'm
many.
not a pub sub. As soon as it goes on sale, my gosh, I got to run and stand in line guy to begin with. So you're talking to the wrong guy about that.
All
you know,
right.
I've always said this too. I like subs, right? Think about all the different places you can get a sub in town, whether it's like Larry's or Jimmy John's.
Cutting
or
all
Jersey Mike's
all the commercials right now.
All I do is
Trying to get all the. Casey says one thing, we question him. Cutting all the endorsements right now.
Subway.
Yeah.
So like
yeah. Hit that Wawa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Subway
Wawa,
needs a Jag sub if anybody needs it for Trevor Lawrence.
Angie subs. Angie's Grama at the
Angie's.
beach. You know what I'm saying?
Angie's?
Yeah.
Yeah, we would like a sub named after us.
Oh, some of that Peruvian
Angie
sauce.
subs. Come on, let's go.
Mwah. Biggest chef's kiss ever.
But you know what I never do is I never crave a sub. Like, you know, when you're thinking about what to eat for lunch or dinner, and we're always kind of on the go a lot, like, all right, what's around the station? And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go there. I don't like, oh, man, I got to go get a whatever sub today.
Mm-hmm.
But I like them when I'm there. Like, I love eating subs, but it just never is like, I'm never craving it to the point where I want to go get it. So, therefore, that's like a little bit of the backstory of why I'm not, like, standing in line for 40 minutes to get a pub sub, too.
I got you. Oh,
You know?
I have cravings now. Yeah, for sure. I have some cravings sometimes.
You do have some cravings.
Oh
All right.
no, for
Yeah.
any kind of sub. Yeah, I mean, I'm a sub fanatic.
All right.
Yeah, I like the subs.
Hey, we're gonna so from subs to is Baker Mayfield going to be subbed out in a moment for Deshaun Watson? You like that? You like that?
Okay.
By the way, that would be a Jersey Mike's play because that started up in Ohio, I think. Evan Ingram.
It didn't start in Jersey?
Yeah, what the?
I don't know.
For real?
I had it for the first time up in Ohio for me. So,
Okay.
and I know they're all over the place in Ohio. Are they as frequent here down here?
Jersey Mike's?
Yeah, they're around.
Yeah.
They're around for sure.
Like a lot of them, or like I know there's I feel like I've seen one of them in town. No, actually, now I know where two of them.
By the way,
Yep.
Jersey Mike's subs originated in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, because called Jersey Mike's subs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, for me, they originated. I don't frequent Jersey. They originated in Ohio for me.
okay, well, I'm just saying the first one was in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, because
That makes sense.
called Jersey Mike's subs.
Makes sense.
Wasn't called Ohio Mike's subs. So just to help you out there a little bit. Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Let me get back to Watson and Mayfield in a minute, but the Jags have officially announced, and they did this 10 minutes ago before we got on subs, their free agent signings that everybody has already reported on. But Ingram, Fadakasi, Jones, Kirk, Aluakon, Sheriff, Williams, official Jags players now, and they have made that happen. Meanwhile, I want to share with you that Stuart Weber is down at the stadium, and they are meeting with Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke right now. The media is, some select media. And Stuart Weber's down there for Action Sports Jacks. He'll call in a little bit later, give us more of an update. But this is what he's tweeted so far. Doug said, help the team with the additions. Trevor, a big part of that. The skill position is a big component, so it feels like we made some good upgrades there. Stuart also tweeting, Trent said this, Linder and I just had a good conversation. No decision made there. We're moving forward. Also has conversations with Cam on franchise tag, hoping to get extension done sooner rather than later.
Linder's gone then, as far as I'm concerned. Because last time we heard that was, hey, Miles Jack's really excited to play in this defense. Can't wait. That's what Mike Caldwell said. And then what happened to Miles Jack?
Yeah, it's a good call.
There you go.
A little more, Trent. Still have 12 draft picks addressing the release of Miles Jack on that front. Doug said skill set of signings and how they fit in our plan are important in deciding who we get. Trent says culture fit, the first step. Lots of research on this we were interested in. So that's coming off Stuart Weber. He'll continue to share some of the thoughts. What I'm wondering is we had a good decision with Brandon Linder. We're working on this. We're moving forward. Does that mean they wanted him to restructure, Austin?
Yeah, I mean,
again, we're not in the room right now.
Yeah. I think there's something to that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's possibly in play. Didn't you see a report today out of St. Augustine or whatever case you shared with me that Linder was going to be cut?
Casey? Oh, he's.
What?
Are you listening to the album? What's going on up there?
I'm working.
Okay, my bad.
Sorry.
Brett was saying there was some kind of source out of St. Augustine saying that Brandon Linder could be cut.
Well, I sent everyone the same screenshot, so yeah, there was that it was already done from this morning, but I said, hey, is this real? Brent said no, so I'm not really sure why we're bringing it up.
because Trent Baalke just said that they've had discussions with Linder and we're moving forward. So we're trying to interpret, what does that mean? Did they think about releasing him and cutting him? Did they want him to restructure? Or are they just going to go status quo? Again, we talked about this last couple of days about their offensive line. I think they don't want to open up holes on that offensive line when they know they've got spots filled. And I also said to Doug Peterson 2 weeks ago, asked him point blank, do you feel like you're set at the center position with Linder and now Shatley? And he said, yeah, we're set. So, again, things can change in those couple of weeks. I don't expect Doug Peterson to share every secret with us. So I think this speaks to they were trying to restructure him, and he's going to be on the team, but they still wouldn't mind restructuring him. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, if your GM says Linder and I just had a good conversation, no decision made there, and we're moving forward, I mean, what decision are we talking about then? You know, I mean, because everyone expects him to be back this season. That's, I think, what the general public would decide. So if we're saying, no decision made, yeah, I think there's something to this. I think there's talks of contract restructuring, whatever the case may be. So, I mean, as of now, he's a Jaguar, but I do think in terms of if he doesn't agree to restructure, he might be out.
Yeah, there's a lot that could still go down there. And again, we're moving forward is pretty interesting. So we'll have to see. Stuart Weber's down there. He'll be able to jump in with us and check in on that. I will say this. You talk about this, Austin. Players don't like to be asked to restructure, right?
Well, it all depends. I mean, sometimes it can benefit you where if you're paid up front. I think back to the Marcel Darious restructure. Remember where they gave him all the money up front?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think he preferred that. So, so I do think sometimes it can benefit the player, but usually, players don't like to be restructured because contracts are contracts.
Yeah, and I know there are some players in the past that have said no. I know, well, I'm pretty confident. I shouldn't say I know with 100% certainty, but I've heard enough and pretty confident that even I think in the last year before they cut him, this wasn't having to do with cutting him, but I think they might have tried to get Calais to restructure and he didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. And so it didn't seem to fit him. So player has a right to say no. That's what this screams to me is. This screams to me like Brandon Linder might have been asked to restructure, and he's like, I don't want to do that. And so kind of put them in a place of, okay, either make a move and get rid of me, or I'm going to work with this contract. And so we'll see. Stuart Weber probably have a little bit more insight on that. We're reading tweets coming out of Jags headquarters, and Stuart's down there for Action Sports Jax, meeting with Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson. But the Linder situation seems to be one that could remain in flux a little bit. I'm not in favor of the Jaguars opening up more holes on their offensive line. I understand we can question injury history. We can question injury history with a guy they just gave $50 million to, and Brendan Scherf as well. I think I want as many good players on the football team for the Jags right now as possible, especially protecting Trevor Lawrence. I think Brandon Linder's a good football player. And so we'll see what they decide to do on that front. All right, let's go back to Cleveland, not the home of Jersey Mike's, and Baker Mayfield. Is it over? regardless of if they get Deshaun Watson or not in Cleveland for Baker Mayfield based on what he said last night?
No, I think this is a case of the rumors of Deshaun Watson and the Browns at least, talking and being